These flameless pillar candles from Pottery Barn are super cute, but definitely out of budget, especially for a holiday like Halloween. Luckily, they sell similar flameless candles, battery operated, at Dollar Tree, but they're in white. So, and they also don't have like the drippy stuff on the side. So we're gonna get creative here with some hot glue and some spray paint. I just used my hot glue gun, and fair warning, you're gonna use a fair amount of hot glue on this. And just apply hot glue right at the lip on the edge at the top of the candle there. And on the first candle that I did, I held it in place, and that was a mistake because the hot glue started to drip at a funny angle. It didn't drip straight down, and I kind of had to use my fingers to kind of rework some of the hot glue and get it to hang the way I wanted to. On the second candle, I got much smarter and I left it just sitting on my work surface and then applied the hot glue right on the edge of the candle, closer to the outside of the outer rim than on the inside, so that it drips down on the outside of the candle. And here is the point in the tutorial where I actually ran out of hot glue sticks. I didn't realize that I was on my last of the thicker of the type hot glue stick. This hot glue gun uses the thicker ones, not the thinner ones. So I had to run to the craft store real quick, panic, and then I was able to finish this candle. And once you have the amount of dripping hot glue that you like, just let all that hot glue dry. Use a little painter's tape and tape off the little faux flame on the candle, because now we're going to spray paint. I just had matte black spray primer in my craft stash, so that's what I used. I thought a matte finish looked better, but just a quick coat of spray paint, and I'm super thrilled with how these drippy black Halloween candles turned out for a fraction of the Pottery Barn price. In addition to the pillar candles, Pottery Barn also has these skull candles, which are also out of budget for people like me. So I decided to make a dupe, and luckily Dollar Tree sells plastic skulls. There's a couple different styles. I just grabbed one of the glow-in-the-dark ones. I also grabbed some black votive candles. I just thought this would be easier since I was going to be spray painting this black anyway, but any type of electric candle will do. Just set that little candle right on top of the skull, centered on top, trace it out with a Sharpie. And then I used my handy pen blade, which I use on a lot of these projects, or any type of razor blade. And friends, please, please, please be careful. I don't want anyone cutting themselves for a craft. It's not worth it. So when I started, I just poked straight up and down a few times until I got a little bit more confident with how much pressure I would have to put on that pen blade to cut all the way through that plastic. And I just cut out that circle. You want to cut it a little smaller maybe than you would think, because when you set that candle in, you want it to stay. You want there to be enough tension around the circle and the skull that the candle stays on its own. So I would say cut the circle smaller than you think you'll need to. You can always make it larger later. And then just apply hot glue all the way around the candle. So you leave the candle sticking, I don't know, half in, half out of the skull, and add hot glue. If you want to just leave it there and let it dry and then add more of the drippy texture hot glue second, feel free to do that. In fact, that may be the smarter route to go, because as you'll see here, I almost had a complete craft fail, but I salvaged it. I think what happened is I added all the drippy hot glue on the side, and then I was like, oh, I want there to be more like drippy on top of the candle, and that added too much weight that as soon as I turned my camera off, my candle fell through right into the skull. And fun fact, friends, if you're in your craft room and like you scream out, oh no, a small child will come running and say, what happened? No, my candle fell through. And so I just ended up popping another candle right in place. And so moral of the story is save the drippy hot glue for the sides, not on top of the candle. It adds too much weight. Okay, so then all that hot glue dried. And from there, you need to be able to access the candle, right? So you have to cut some sort of opening in the bottom of the skull so that you can stick your hand in there and flip the on-off switch on the bottom of that candle. So pen blade again. And I just cut a little slit to make a flap, and then I made 2 more slits to make another flap, just an opening large enough that I could stick my hand in there and flip on and off that little light switch. Oh, and while I was at it, I fished out the other candle that fell into my skull. So, learn from my mistakes, friends. And then once I had the hole in the bottom of the skull cut to the size that I wanted, I then taped off that faux light on the top of the candle, and then grabbed some black spray paint, any type of matte or even a satin finish. I just used black spray primer because that's what I had on hand. Took it outside and gave everything a coat of spray paint. And I think this skull candle looks super cool with my Dupe pillar candles. So happy with how this turned out.